You've been given an elephant. You can't give it away or sell it. What would you do with the elephant?
I can give my answer in 3 parts. 1. Glue hose.
In
2,
this video, I'll show
an
you
arseload
how to
of
set up
hay.
and manage live streams
3.
in YouTube's
Fake
live
mammoth rights. Need I say more?
I would name the elephant Stampy and recreate the episode of The Simpsons where Bart gets an elephant. I would also find a small bird to sit on my head and groom me so that I may be elephant fresh.
I think the only appropriate thing to do with an elephant in this sort of situation is to strike fear into the hearts of your enemies. It is a long-standing tradition of coming over the mountain riding an elephant to show the people that you don't care about that you truly mean business. I think that's been missing from 21st century culture, and I'd very much like to bring it back.
I'd introduce it to another elephant of the opposite gender so it wouldn't get lonely, and then I'd let nature run its course. I think the tone of any neighbourhood can only be raised by the inclusion of an elephant family.
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be and why?
I'd like to be poetry, specifically good poetry, because it's not only melodious, but it's also rather intellectual and cultured. I'd be loved by those who understood me, and those who didn't would pretend they did so nobody would look down on them.
If I were a tree, I think I'd be one of those trees that grows out at a weird angle to wrap itself around another bigger, more confident tree. A parasite tree. Trees that grows
I
out
would
at
be
a
an
weird
oak
angle
tree
to wrap
because
itself.
I know a lot about Pokemon.
Are you a hunter or a gatherer?
I am a gatherer. Specifically, I'm a gatherer of hunters. I like to surround myself with hunters. See, the thing is, as great as I am at giving other people advice, I have no self-preservation skills whatsoever. So having a nice harem of people who seem like they kind of know what they're doing at all times is really helpful for me.
I am neither. I am a scavenger and an opportunist. I play both sides so that I always come out on top.
How would you design a spice rack for the blind?
Well, what's important to consider is the senses that they do have available to them, namely smell. Here's how my design would work. You've got the spice rack, and each separate spice is connected to a nozzle, which comes out with a little cone. You put your nose into it, give it a sniff, you can tell what spice it is. That means you're on the right track. Once you find the right one, you hold your food up to it, press a button, and out of that same nozzle, just a splash of that spice. Press the button as much as you want. Easy peasy.
It would be exactly the same as a normal spice rack because the only spice that would be in it would be cilantro.
I have 4 words for you here. Microscope for your nose. The current spice rack design doesn't need changing. The way we smell spices needs changing. With my patented microscope for your nose, you will be able to get in-depth sense from those smells, and you'll be able to differentiate each and every one of them, whether you want to or not.
I'd create a fun new board game in which they would say which spice they wanted, and then they'd be presented with 4 options. They could then use their senses of smell and taste to determine which of the 4 spices was the one they wanted. And then they could have options like 50-50 or phone a friend to help them narrow it down. Once they'd locked in their choice, they could add it to their dish, and at mealtime they'd find out whether their choice was correct. Surprise meals!
Part of buying the microscope for the nose is that you will receive a series of CDs that trains you in the art of spice smelling. You play them, and we describe to you the smell of every single spice. Only when you've completed and graduated from our course will you then receive the microscope for your nose, which is realistically just a crazy straw that we dip into each container of spice.
What was the last gift you gave someone?
Corona.
The last gift I gave someone was the gift of discovery, specifically discovering how they're perceived by others, which I don't personally think is something people have been given enough. In this case, I said, "You smell, go take a shower."
The last gift I gave someone was my complete undivided attention. And I don't mean that in a narcissistic way, that my time and attention means more than anybody else's. Just that sometimes, in the world we're currently living in, having someone, just one person's undivided attention for a little bit of time can mean the world to people.
If you could compare yourself with any animal, which would it be and why?
I would compare myself to a Komodo dragon because I am not motivated to move unless I'm warm enough and my mouth is so full of bacteria I could probably kill with a bite.
I'd compare myself to a bear because, like a bear, I like to walk around in warm, fuzzy covering. In my case, that is a dressing gown. In their case, it's a fur coat. I mean, potato, potato. And also, I like to hibernate in winter. In addition, my name means brave as a bear, which is a total misnomer. But I am quite a scary sight when I first get out of bed.
If I could compare myself with any animal, it would be a Christmas beetle. I believe that I'm like a Christmas beetle because I seem to be vaguely missing for the majority of the year, and then suddenly for 1 month I'm involved in your life and everything's really exciting.
Just on that, I noticed last year, I don't think we got any Christmas beetles. Where did the Christmas beetles go last year?
The Christmas beetles have slowly been disappearing over time. If you think back to your childhood, gathered in the backyard, used to be beset by Christmas beetles. It almost seemed that there were too many Christmas beetles. And now you can go the entire of December without seeing any. Now, some people will tell you that climate change is the reason for this. Some people would be lying to you. The answer is that the Christmas beetles were only here to get information, and they hung around for years, and they got that information, and very slowly they have been returning to their home planet. The year we see no Christmas beetles is the last Christmas for us on this planet, because the next year, the Christmas beetles will come back, and they will know everything they need to take us down.
Can you tell me 3 things you could do with a pencil other than write?
Draw.
Well, the obvious use for a pencil is it's all in the way that it's all in the mode that it's in. So there's sharp, blunt, and almost nothing, and that's when you've sharpened it to the point where it's basically just an inch long. Now, of course, a sharp pencil is really good for stabbing an eye out, and that's good for self-defense because no one thinks you got a pencil on you. Now, when the pencil's blunt, that means it's pretty smooth on both edges, and what that's used for is as one of those levels that people test to see if planks of wood are stable or not. Pop a pencil on there, and because it's blunt, there's no extra weight either side, so it's the perfect spirit level. Now, as for a pencil that's only an inch long, as in one that's at the end of its rope, where you've basically sharpened it down till it's nothing, that's a good gravestone for a goldfish right there. I should know, buried many a goldfish in my day.
Finally scratch that spot on the inside of my nose that has been killing me for years.
If I had an airplane full of jelly beans and I wanted you to get them all out, but in a very sanitary way so that I could still eat them, what would you do? Now, you have 24 hours to do this, but you do have access to unlimited funds.
I'm going to employ a huge team of skilled chopstick users to each carefully remove one jelly bean at a time and place them in special jars in the airplane's hangar. Now, here's the brilliant part of this. Number 1, I'd need to bring a lot of people to get out the plane full of jelly beans. I would bring in lots of people. I mean, how many people are you going to need with chopsticks? That is going to automatically reduce the number of people on JobSeeker and JobKeeper. By the time the team had finished, their skills will be hugely improved, and as we all know, using chopsticks is a skill for life. There would then be a whole bunch of jars of jelly beans, which I could then use for guessing competitions and offset the cost of the operation, or even maybe turn a profit.
If you were a kitchen appliance, which kitchen appliance would you be and why?
If I were a kitchen appliance, I think I'd be a microwave. I get things done efficiently, but secretly. I'm not good for you.
If I was going to be any kitchen appliance, I'd be a coffee machine. Everybody would love me, except now I think about it, probably not me because I don't like coffee. I think there's a story about self-loathing in here next.
Given the chance, would you sabotage a colleague's career to climb up the ladder?
Only if the career in question was Olympic ladder climbing. I'd cut all the rungs off their ladder.
That is a hard no from me, Luke, and I'll tell you why. Ladders are rickety and quite hard work to climb. I'd stay down at the bottom by the pool drinking a cocktail with one of those paper umbrellas in them.
How would you describe the colour green to a blind and deaf person?
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get them a mint leaf and I'm getting them to just rub it between their fingers and just to get that beautiful smell. I might get a blade of grass, do the same thing. Then I'd explain to them that green is the colour of chlorophyll. And I'd explain its role in photosynthesis, which allows plants to absorb energy from life. So in essence, green is the colour of nature. And if they still don't get it, well, I've got nothing.
I don't think a blind and deaf person really needs to be concerned with colors, to be honest.
But what if it was something that they always dreamed of knowing? They keep hearing people say the color green and they felt left out.
How do they hear people say the color green, Berman? They're deaf.
Braille, my friend, in Braille.
You can't hear Braille. You touch it. That's the point of Braille.
You are trapped on a life raft with a nun, an old man, and a baby. There is only room for 3 of you, and you must decide who you throw off the raft. Who do you choose, and why?
Well, first of all, if there's only room for 4 of us, that baby must be big. But here's my answer. It's all about testing the morality. Because it's all well and good to be a nun, but you might be one of those super corrupt nuns that takes money out of the collection plate. And, old men, majority of the time, tend to be more on the right side of the spectrum. So, here's how you do it. You say to everyone on the raft, look, there's going to be arguments about who gets to stay, therefore, no one does. Let's all jump out and make our way to whatever nearby islands there may be. Everyone agrees to it, you give them the count of 3, and then you don't jump. You get the whole raft to yourself. Look at that, you've got so much room for lounging back, taking in the rays of the sun, and the less weight means you're more buoyant, you're gonna find a current quicker, find a boat or an island faster. It's all about survival.
So what you're saying is you would throw them all off the raft?
It's the more humane way to do it, because if you don't do that, then you're basically saying that one of them has more value than the others, but if you kick them all off, they're equal. Communism.
I throw myself off the raft.
I'm going to throw off the nun. Now, as anyone will know who has seen any of Sally Field's early television work, nuns can fly. So I'd launch the nun off into the air, maybe even tie a tow rope around her so she could pull us along with her, and then we'd all safely navigate the sea.
What is your favourite song?
My favourite song right now is Downtown Train, but not the Rod Stewart cover, the original Tom Waits version, where he sounds deeply haunted, like he spent months in the woods running away from wolves and has been repeatedly punched in the throat.
I have a few favourite songs, but one of them is More Than Words by Extreme.
Lately, I've been listening to Nights in White Satin a lot by the Moody Blues.
Perform it for us now.
Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send.
Will I see you tonight on a downtown train?
Saying I love you is not the words I want to hear from you.
Every night it's just the same.
Beauty I'd always missed with these eyes before. Just what the truth is, I can't say anymore.
It's not that I want you not to say, but if you only knew how easy it would be to show me how you feel.
Why is a tennis ball fuzzy?
What would you do if I tore my heart in two?
On a downtown train.
Okay, let's move on. Why is a tennis ball fuzzy?
'Cause I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, how I love you.
Tennis balls, anyone?
Tennis balls are fuzzy because they don't conform to male standards of female beauty, so they don't shave regularly.
If you were 80 years old, what would you tell your children?
If I was 80 years old, I'd tell my children to get really into magic. Magic is a universal skill. Yes, it's a great way to pick up. Yes, it's a great way to impress in parties. Also, a great skill for a bank heist. It's great to pull out job interviews. Wedding? What wedding wouldn't be more exciting? With magic. What funeral wouldn't be more exciting with magic?
How does the internet work?
Mice cheese, and a hamster wheel. Yes, the thing that keeps planes in the sky, underpins all research and allows you to share memes, can be destroyed simply with a container of mustard gas, or by one of those cats whose videos you found so funny. Not so funny now, eh? Get into your fallout shelters, people.
The internet isn't anything tangible, material. The only reason the internet works is because we believe that it works. In that way, the internet is very much like the economy, or fairies in Peter Pan. As long as we believe, the internet will always be there for us.
Hi, I'm Sally. Feeding my 2 young children used to be a nightmare. I'd spend hours in the kitchen baking, trying to tempt them with new recipes, and even arranging food in decorative ways. But when it was time to eat, they'd hardly touch their meal. I thought I'd go mad. No matter what I tried, all they wanted to eat was chicken drumsticks and ice cream.